So we're on the Celebrity Silhouette, and we're on our way to Canada, Greenland, and Iceland. Before that, we have to leave out of New Jersey so we can go see Lady Liberty. Here's a look at Lady Liberty. We're in Halifax! Yay! So today we had a nice day in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Rained all day, so we didn't even get off the boat because we were just here last year in the fall. But beautiful town, great big violin. Tomorrow day at sea, and then we pull into St. John's, Newfoundland, or Newfoundland, however it's pronounced. But all's good so far. St. John's is the capital and the largest city of the Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador. They have Signal Hill, which is where Marconi received the first transatlantic wireless signal from Europe in 1901. Up into the town you'll find Jelly Bean Row, which are these Victorian houses painted bright colors, kind of like San Francisco. As Pat and I were wandering back down the hill, we came across a park that had a NATO memorial in it. It had a bronze with a soldier holding a dove. There were some trees in there and some really pretty flowers, and of course some benches for some well-needed rest. We finally made our way down the hill to Water Street, where they had some very unique shops, and they had some great architecture to look at too. On our way back to the ship, we came across Neptune overlooking the Narrows, which is a mural painted by one of the local artists. We got ourselves back on board, and we were underway, past Signal Hill, on our way to Greenland. After a couple of relaxing days at sea, where there may have been some spa treatments involved, I can't really say, we made our way into Greenland waters, where we saw the first, but certainly not the last, of quite a few icebergs. And that means it's time to break out the long lens for the camera. So here we are in sunny Qaqortoq, Greenland. Qaqortoq. Yes, we speak the language fluently. Got here this morning. It's June, and it's sunny. It's 41 degrees. 41 degrees. Never thought we'd get here. Here we are. So we'll give you a look around. Qaqortoq is the largest town in southern Greenland, with a population of around 3,000. It was founded in 1775, and it's famous for its colorful colonial architecture and relatively mild southern Arctic climate. Some of the flora here, like this Arctic lupine, are just beautiful. They've got some pretty interesting churches, and there's also a freshwater creek that runs right through the middle of it. And I don't know for sure, but I imagine that was a big draw when they were deciding to settle here. This fountain is the oldest fountain in Greenland. It was built in 1932. And this statue of an Inuit woman honors the vital role that women in Arctic society hold. And then there's the Stone and Man Project, which is a permanent open-air art gallery with over 40 sculptures and reliefs, and they're all carved right into the natural boulders and the cliff faces. It was initiated in 1993 by a local Greenlandic artist, and they had 18 other artists working on it from different Nordic countries. The artists were from Greenland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland. We wandered along the path that starts behind the visitor center, and we saw the ones that we have pictures of here. Now, we didn't get to see all of them, or even most of them, because you'd have to scour the town. They don't really have a map there, but we got a pretty good idea of what we were looking at. Somebody spent a lot of time with a chisel and did some really nice work. Qualkertalk isn't a big town. It's about 7.3 square miles or 19 kilometers. They've got that large hotel in the middle of it, and then just up over those hills down the road, they put in a new airport. So now they have an airport, and there's a ferry that comes here. I'm not sure how many times a week it comes. And then if you look out, you'll see where the cruise ships park. After a really pleasant morning, Pat and I made our way back onto a tender so we could head back out to the ship. There was a lot going on in the harbor. You had tenders still coming in. I think we were on one of the first couple that came in. And you had people renting boats to go out and look at icebergs. So we made our way back out to the ship just in time for lunch. Imagine that. Oh, it turned out to be a lovely day in Qualkertalk, Greenland. Next, we're off through Christian Sound, see some glaciers, and then we're on to Iceland. Goodbye, Greenland. If you're enjoying the video, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. And maybe even subscribe to us. We're trying for 1,000 subscribers by the end of December. Those guys at the Martini Bar, they really know how to have a good time. This Danish patrol vessel, the Thetis, escorted us all the way into Akureyri. It was a nice looking ship. We had booked a tour in Akureyri, and it was to go to the first stop, which was the Botanical Gardens of Akureyri, which are the farthest northern botanical garden in the world. Of course, being June, everything is in full bloom here. They have a really short season, but they have a lot of flowers and types of plants that get along well with this kind of a weather. Now, once again, the weather's not that bad in Iceland in the summertime, so they do a lot of their growing then. It was a lovely little walk around. We got to stretch our legs, and they had a little cafe where you could have a coffee or tea and get a muffin or something. It was a lot of fun. The next stop on the tour was the Leif House Manor Farm and Church. This particular site has had a church on it since 1047 with a priest in it, and the current priest actually lives here on the grounds. They had some of the more modern equipment on display out in the front, right where the gift shop is. And it was a really quaint little gift shop. Over at the church, this particular church was built in 1865, and if you look, you can see the turf buildings in the distance. I'll tell you more about those in just a minute. But for now, We went inside of the church. Now the church is a real church. It currently is used sometimes for weddings and other types of activities. Inside of the church there's a pulpit of wood carvings from 1698. Here it is. One fun fact that our tour guide told us was these turf houses were the inspiration for J.R.R. Tolkien's The Shire in Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit houses. Apparently he has never been here, but he had an Icelandic nanny when he was being raised, and that's where you got the Shire from. We got ourselves back on the bus and headed across this extraordinary valley with these great mountain ranges in it, and along this beautiful river on our way to our next stop, which would be the waterfall that we've all been waiting for, Godafoss. The waterfall is 39 feet high and 98 feet wide. It's in kind of a horseshoe shape. It's about a 20-25 minute walk up to where this railing is, where there's lookouts. Now you can keep going farther up. It's more of a dirt path or a stony rocky path. As you come back down, you can take pictures from afar. Now some of those people down there on the left are a little crazy, but it was really windy, but it was just absolutely beautiful. Here's another view from the bridge over by where the parking lot is. If you look off in the distance where all that spray is, that's the main falls, the really big ones. I don't know if they had a really wet year or what, but they had an incredible current coming down through here. Even when it got down here to this smaller fall. I mean, that's just amazing. That in itself would have been worth the trip. We really enjoyed this. After that, it was back on the bus for a ride back to the ship. We went along this river, which I'm not going to try and pronounce, but if you're a fly fisherman, this is where you want to go when you die. Very nice. And we were on to our next port. Our next port of call was the beautiful little town of Ísafjörður. Ísafjörður is the largest town in the remote West Fjords region up in northwest Iceland. It's home to about 2,600 people, and it sits on a sand spit where in between two really gorgeous mountain ranges. There was a caldera down one side of them, so at one point this must have been a pretty nice volcano. There were currently 3 other ships in port, so it was a little crowded, and the weather turned bad, so we just made our way back to the ship. Now just aft of where the ship was moored, they had an airport. Apparently they'd done some landfill and made this nice short runway, so if you ever need to take a flight into Ísafjörður, well, that's the airport you're going to be flying into. After our short visit to Ísafjörður, we got back on the ship and made our way to our last port of call. We exited the ship in Reykjavik on a bus tour that took us to the airport. Along the way, we got to see the Sun Voyager, which is this statue outside of the town. We went to the Northern Lights Center to see the Aurora Borealis, and we went to the Perla Museum, which was just incredible. If you ever get a chance, you should definitely go there. Now these pictures here are the only pictures I got of a puffin the entire trip, and they were stuffed in the museum. Yeah, what are you going to do? Well, that's it for now. If you want to see the cabin we stayed in, or how easy it is to eat on a celebrity ship gluten-free, check out these videos. But in the meantime, everybody take it slow and steady. Bye-bye.